I stood in my empty apartment on my 28th birthday, watching through social media as my family threw an extravagant surprise party for my younger brother Jake's 25th birthday, just 3 weeks after, completely forgetting my own special day. The contrast hit like a slap. Professional catering, decorations, dozens of relatives, and my parents beaming with pride. I stared at my phone, remembering how my birthday passed without a single call, text, or acknowledgement from anyone in my family. Tonight, everything changes. The morning of my birthday 3 weeks ago replayed in my mind like a broken record. I had subtly mentioned it was my special day during our weekly family group text, hoping someone would remember. The message sat there for hours before my mother Susan finally responded with crushing casualness. "Oh, honey, we're so busy planning Jake's surprise party. Can we celebrate yours next month?" My father Robert completely ignored my message, instead asking if I could contribute money for Jake's party expenses. The request felt like salt in an open wound. My Aunt Margaret, Uncle David, and cousins all read the messages but said nothing. The silence spoke volumes about where I stood in the family hierarchy. This pattern stretched back to my childhood like an endless loop of disappointment. While Jake received elaborate birthday celebrations with themed decorations, professional entertainment, and guest lists that filled our entire backyard, my birthdays passed quietly with store-bought cupcakes and hurried acknowledgments. My parents always had excuses: work obligations, budget constraints, or simply forgetting altogether. As an adult living in Austin, Texas, working as a software engineer at a promising tech startup, I thought things might change. I built a stable career, maintained a modest apartment in a decent neighborhood, and kept my life organized and predictable. My routine centered around work, weekend coding projects, and occasional dinners with colleagues. I lived quietly, dedicating myself to professional growth, while hoping family recognition would eventually follow. The growing realization hit me hard. My family saw me as the stable, reliable one who didn't need attention. They took my consistency for granted while celebrating Jake's unpredictable, outgoing personality. Every family gathering reinforced this dynamic. Jake would arrive late, entertain everyone with wild stories about his latest adventures, and leave early while I helped clean up and listened to relatives discuss his bright future. My internal conflict grew stronger with each passing year. I wanted to speak up, demand equal treatment, but feared creating family drama. The thought of confrontation made my stomach churn. I had been conditioned to keep peace, stay in the background, and support others' happiness at the expense of my own. When the hurt became unbearable, I called my grandmother Helen, my only true ally in the family. She listened patiently as I explained my feelings, then sighed deeply before responding. "Stephen, I've noticed it too, and I'm sorry. Your parents just get excited about Jake's outgoing personality. They don't realize how they're treating you." Her validation meant everything, but it also confirmed my worst fears. The favoritism was real, visible to others, and apparently acceptable to everyone except me. That conversation planted seeds of determination in my mind. If I couldn't earn recognition through being the good son, maybe I could prove my worth through professional success. I threw myself into work with renewed focus, staying late to debug complex code, volunteering for challenging projects, and building relationships with senior management. My performance reviews consistently rated me as exceptional, but the recognition at work only highlighted the absence of appreciation at home. The irony wasn't lost on me. I was respected and valued by colleagues who knew me professionally, yet invisible to the family I had spent my entire life trying to please. This realization marked the beginning of my transformation from seeking approval to demanding respect. 3 weeks after my forgotten birthday, Jake's 25th celebration arrived with the fanfare of a royal wedding. I drove to my parents' suburban house reluctantly, already dreading the inevitable comparison between our respective days. The scene that greeted me exceeded my worst expectations. Professional party planners had transformed the backyard into an outdoor paradise. String lights created a magical canopy over tables draped in premium linens. A live acoustic duo performed near the pool, while bartenders served craft cocktails from a fully stocked mobile bar. The aroma of premium steaks and gourmet sides filled the air as caterers bustled around serving stations laden with expensive appetizers. The guest list read like a family reunion roster. Distant relatives had flown in from Oregon, North Carolina, and even Florida specifically for Jake's celebration. His college fraternity brothers mingled with neighbors, high school friends, and family members I hadn't seen in years. A professional photographer captured every moment, while a videographer documented the festivities for posterity. My parents, Robert and Susan, moved through the crowd like proud hosts at a charity gala. I watched Robert corner anyone who would listen, bragging about Jake's entrepreneurial spirit and his latest ventures selling protein supplements online. The irony cut deep. Jake was unemployed, living in our parents' basement, yet somehow commanded more respect than my stable engineering career. Mother Susan glowed with maternal pride as she described Jake's bright future to anyone within earshot. She spoke about his creativity, his business instincts, and his natural charisma as if he were destined for greatness rather than lounging around their house playing video games between sporadic attempts at online sales. The conversations around me felt surreal. Extended family members who barely acknowledged my existence at previous gatherings now celebrated Jake's potential with genuine enthusiasm. They overlooked his lack of employment, his dependence on our parents, and his history of abandoned projects in favor of focusing on his magnetic personality and grand dreams. During a lull in festivities, I found myself talking with my cousin Patricia near the dessert table. She had always been more observant than others in our family, and her casual comment stopped me cold. "At least you got scholarships for college, unlike Jake, who needed all that family money for his startup attempts." The words hit me like a physical blow. "What family money?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Patricia looked confused, then horrified as she realized her mistake. "Oh God. Stephen, I thought you knew. Your parents used your college fund to help Jake with his business ventures over the years." The party continued around us, but everything felt muffled and distant. My college fund, the money my parents had promised was invested safely for my education, had been spent on Jake's failures. I worked 2 jobs throughout college to pay tuition, living on ramen noodles and generic groceries, believing my fund was growing through wise investments. I excused myself and cornered my Aunt Margaret by the bar, subtly probing for more information. What I learned made my blood run cold. Jake had received over $60,000 in loans that were never repaid. Each failed business venture resulted in another family bailout, another excuse about learning experiences and future potential. The revelation recontextualized every sacrifice I had made during college. While I worked nights at a campus computer lab and weekends at a local restaurant, my education fund was subsidizing Jake's entrepreneurial fantasies. While I ate cereal for dinner and wore secondhand clothes, Jake was burning through thousands of dollars on ventures that lasted weeks before being abandoned. As the party wound down, family members treated Jake like a visiting celebrity, seeking selfies and promising to follow his social media accounts. Meanwhile, I collected empty plates and bottles, invisible in my utility. Jake lounged in a patio chair, holding court with his admirers while I helped the caterers load their van. The final insult came as I prepared to leave. Jake made a dismissive comment about my boring computer job, while several family members laughed appreciatively. The laughter felt like knives. Here was an unemployed 25-year-old mocking the career that had provided stability and independence while being celebrated for his potential. I drove home in silence, my mind racing with anger, hurt, and something new: determination. The family dynamic that had shaped my entire life suddenly felt negotiable rather than inevitable. If they could disrespect my achievements while celebrating Jake's failures, perhaps it was time to stop caring about their approval altogether. Grandmother Helen was the only person who noticed my early departure, calling later to check on me. Her concern felt genuine, unlike the performative family loyalty I had witnessed all evening. That conversation confirmed what I had suspected. She had noticed the unfair treatment but felt powerless to address it within the family structure. The drive back to my apartment became a turning point. For the first time in my life, I began considering what would happen if I stopped trying to earn family approval and started demanding family respect. 2 months after Jake's lavish celebration, my career took an unexpected turn that would reshape everything. My supervisor called me into a conference room on a Tuesday morning, and I assumed I was in trouble for some coding error. Instead, she offered me a promotion that exceeded my wildest expectations. "Stephen, we're promoting you to Senior Development Manager," she announced with a smile. "The board was impressed with your leadership on the database migration project. You have two options: stay in Austin with a $15,000 raise, or relocate to our Denver office as Regional Development Lead with a $65,000 increase plus a $50,000 signing bonus." I sat there stunned, processing numbers that represented more money than I had ever imagined earning. The Denver position would nearly double my current salary while offering management experience and stock options. It felt surreal after years of quiet, steady work, finally being recognized at this level. My first instinct was to call my family and share the incredible news. I dialed my parents' number with genuine excitement, expecting congratulations and pride. Instead, the conversation took a familiar, disappointing turn. "That's wonderful, honey," my mother Susan said after I explained the opportunity. "Does this mean you'll be able to help Jake get his new business off the ground? He's been waiting for some family financial support." Before I could respond, my father Robert jumped on the line. "Stephen, you should stay local to help family instead of moving away for money. Jake really needs someone stable to believe in his potential." The suggestion hit me like cold water. My career breakthrough was immediately viewed through the lens of what it could do for Jake, rather than what it meant for my own life. They weren't celebrating my achievement. They were calculating how to monetize it for their golden child. The conversation continued with Robert mentally calculating how much I could contribute to Jake's newest business idea, a subscription box service for fitness enthusiasts. He had elaborate plans that required significant startup capital, plans that apparently depended on my newfound earning potential. I ended the call feeling deflated rather than celebrated. My colleague Brian, who had witnessed my excitement before the family call, noticed my changed demeanor. Over coffee, I explained the situation, and his response opened my eyes to dynamics I had normalized. "Dude, that's completely toxic," he said bluntly. "You just got a massive promotion, and they're treating you like an ATM for your brother. Normal families celebrate achievements, not immediately figure out how to exploit them." His perspective felt revolutionary. I had spent so long accepting my family's treatment as normal that I couldn't recognize manipulation when it was happening directly to me. Brian's outsider view helped me understand that healthy families support individual success rather than viewing it as a resource to be redistributed. That evening, I researched Denver thoroughly. Housing markets, neighborhoods, recreational opportunities, and cost of living. The city offered mountains, outdoor activities, and a tech scene that valued innovation over politics. Most importantly, it offered distance from family expectations and the freedom to build relationships based on mutual respect rather than obligation. My decision crystallized quickly. I would take the Denver position, but I wouldn't tell my family about the full scope of the salary increase or signing bonus. They had already proven they viewed my success as their opportunity rather than my achievement. The timing couldn't have been more perfect when Jake called 2 days later asking for a small loan of $10,000 for his subscription box venture. His casual tone suggested he viewed my money as family money, available upon request for his entrepreneurial dreams. "I'm not sure about my finances yet," I deflected. "The new job hasn't started, and I don't know what moving expenses will be." Jake's response revealed everything about our family dynamic. He seemed genuinely confused that I wouldn't automatically fund his business idea, as if my purpose in life was providing financial support for his ambitions. The entitlement in his voice was staggering. Our family group chat exploded with pressure tactics after Jake shared news of my hesitation. Messages poured in about family loyalty, supporting each other's dreams, and how successful older brothers should help younger siblings achieve their potential. The guilt campaign was coordinated and relentless. I responded minimally while secretly apartment hunting in Denver online. Each Mountain View listing felt like a window into a new life where my achievements belonged to me rather than being automatically redistributed to others. I dreamed of independence, respect, and the freedom to build relationships based on genuine connection rather than financial utility. Grandmother Helen was the only family member who privately supported my decision to relocate. During one of our weekly calls, she revealed insights that confirmed my suspicions. "Stephen, I've watched this family treat you unfairly for years," she admitted quietly. "You deserve better than being taken for granted. Sometimes the only way to gain respect is to stop accepting disrespect." Her validation gave me strength to resist the mounting family pressure. I started planning my complete separation from their financial expectations, imagining a life where my bonus and salary increases belong to me rather than being viewed as Jake's startup fund. The transformation began with that promotion offer, but it accelerated with my family's predictable response. For the first time in my life, I realized that loving my family didn't require sacrificing my financial independence or accepting their exploitation. My first month in Denver transformed my perspective on life completely. The company treated me with respect from day one, valuing my input in strategic meetings and trusting my technical judgment. Colleagues invited me to lunch, included me in weekend hiking trips, and celebrated my ideas without immediately calculating how they could benefit personally. When my signing bonus arrived, $50,000 after taxes appeared in my checking account like a gift from another universe. I had initially planned modest improvements, upgrading my apartment, maybe purchasing a reliable car to replace my aging sedan, and building an emergency fund like financial advisors recommended. But Denver's proximity to the Colorado mountains opened possibilities I had never considered. During a weekend drive through the Rockies, I stopped at a real estate office in a small mountain town purely out of curiosity. The agent, a friendly woman named Carol, showed me online listings that made my heart race with possibility. "This one just came on the market," she said, pulling up photos of a beautiful lake house. "It's a foreclosure sale, unfortunately. The previous owners couldn't make payments after a job loss. Normally, it would list for around $300,000, but we're asking $175,000 for a quick sale." The pictures revealed a 2-bedroom cabin with wraparound decks overlooking a pristine mountain lake. Pine trees surrounded the property, offering complete privacy while still being accessible by paved road. The interior featured exposed beam ceilings, a stone fireplace, and large windows showcasing water and mountain views. I found myself imagining mornings on that dock, coffee in hand, watching sunrise paint the mountains gold. The peace in those photos felt tangible, a stark contrast to the anxiety I associated with family gatherings and their constant demands for financial support. "Could I qualify for a mortgage on this?" I asked Carol, surprising myself with the question. Within 2 hours, we had contacted a mortgage broker who pre-approved me based on my new salary and available down payment. The numbers worked perfectly. My bonus covered the down payment with money left over for immediate improvements, and my Denver salary easily supported the monthly payments. Meanwhile, my family group chat had exploded with wedding news. Jake announced his engagement to Amanda, his girlfriend of 8 months, with plans for an elaborate celebration that apparently required significant family financial contributions. My mother, Susan, immediately launched into planning mode, sending detailed messages about venue options, catering estimates, and photographer costs. The total budget exceeded $40,000, with family members expected to contribute based on their perceived ability to pay. "Stephen should contribute at least $20,000 as the brother with the good job," Susan wrote in the group chat, as if my bank account was community property available for redistribution. My father, Robert, sent me a private message with a spreadsheet breaking down expected family contributions. According to his calculations, my new job meant I should cover nearly half the wedding expenses while other relatives contributed token amounts. The presumption was breathtaking in its audacity. Jake called me directly to discuss his wedding plans, describing a destination ceremony, premium everything, and a guest list that included people I had never heard of. He spoke about the celebration as if it were my responsibility to fund his romantic dreams, never questioning whether I might have my own financial priorities. That afternoon, I drove to the lake house property for a personal viewing. Carol met me at the rustic wooden gate, and we walked the grounds together. The dock extended 20 feet into crystal-clear water where fish swam visibly below the surface. Mountains reflected perfectly in the still lake. creating a panoramic vista that felt like a painting. The inspection report shows the structure is completely sound, Carol explained, as we toured the interior. The previous owners took excellent care of maintenance. It just needs some cosmetic updates. Fresh paint, maybe new fixtures, but nothing major. Standing on the master bedroom deck, overlooking the lake while breathing pine-scented air, I made an impulsive decision that would change everything. I'll take it. Today, can we finalize paperwork this afternoon? Carol's eyes widened with surprise, but her professionalism kicked in immediately. Absolutely. I'll call the seller's agent and our office. We can have contracts signed within hours if you're serious. The next few hours flew by in a blur of signatures, wire transfers, and phone calls. By evening, I owned a mountain lake house that represented complete independence and peace. The property deed bore my name alone, a symbol of individual achievement that no one could claim or redistribute. I spent that first weekend at my lake house alone, decorating modestly but meaningfully. I purchased quality fishing equipment, hiking gear, and photography equipment to capture the natural beauty surrounding my new retreat. Every improvement reflected my personal taste rather than family expectations or demands. During this time, my family continued calling about wedding contributions, but I deflected with vague responses about finances being tight with my recent move. They couldn't imagine I had other financial priorities beyond supporting Jake's romantic dreams. Sitting on my private dock that Sunday evening, I experienced genuine peace for the first time in years. No family drama, no guilt campaigns, no demands for financial support, just mountain silence, lake reflections, and the satisfaction of ownership earned through my own hard work. This experience planted an idea that would soon change everything. My 29th birthday was approaching, and for the first time in my life, I planned to celebrate it properly. I would document my independence, my achievement, and my newfound peace through social media. The post would be simple, honest, and transformative in ways I couldn't yet imagine. My 29th birthday arrived on a quiet Tuesday in October, following the familiar pattern of family silence I had come to expect. No calls, no texts, no acknowledgments from the people who had raised me. The difference this year was my reaction. Instead of feeling hurt, I felt liberated. I took a half-day off work and drove to my lake house, stopping to pick up ingredients for a birthday dinner I would prepare for myself. The October air was crisp, with aspen leaves turning gold on the mountainsides. My private dock offered the perfect setting for a solitary celebration that belonged entirely to me. As the sun began setting behind the peaks, painting the lake surface in shades of orange and pink, I prepared a simple but satisfying meal. Grilled salmon, roasted vegetables, and a bottle of wine I had been saving for a special occasion. Eating alone on my deck while watching wildlife move through the forest felt more meaningful than any family gathering I could remember. The natural beauty surrounding me deserved documentation. I took several photos with my phone, the sunset reflecting perfectly in still water, the cozy cabin interior lit by warm lamplight, the property deed and house keys arranged artfully on the wooden table. Each image captured not just a beautiful location, but a symbol of independence and self-respect. Crafting the Instagram post required careful consideration. I wanted something honest but understated, significant without being dramatic. After several drafts, I settled on the simplest possible caption, "Birthday gift, to myself." The photos spoke for themselves. A stunning mountain lake house, legal documents proving ownership, and the serene setting of complete personal peace. I tagged the location as my birthday retreat and included a few college friends who had always supported my independence. I posted the photos around 9 in the evening, then turned my phone to silent mode and enjoyed the quiet satisfaction of a birthday properly celebrated. No family drama, no guilt, no demands for attention or money, just the peaceful recognition of another year of life and the achievement it represented. I went to bed early, sleeping deeply to the sound of gentle waves lapping against my dock. The mountain silence was complete, interrupted only by the occasional call of an owl or the distant howl of coyotes. It felt like the first truly restful sleep I had experienced in months. Wednesday morning brought a rude awakening. My phone showed 17 missed calls and 43 text messages, all from family members who had apparently discovered my lake house post. The digital chaos was immediate and intense. My mother Susan's texts escalated from confusion to panic within hours. "What lake house?" she had written at midnight. "How much did this cost?" At 2 in the morning. "We need to talk immediately at 6. The progression revealed her growing realization that I had spent significant money without consulting the family. My father, Robert, had called repeatedly throughout the night, leaving increasingly agitated voicemails about family financial priorities and irresponsible spending. His messages revealed the core of their outrage. I had spent money that they considered rightfully available for Jake's wedding fund. Jake's response was the most revealing. His text messages were filled with anger and betrayal. "How could you buy a house when I need wedding money?" And, "This is completely selfish, Stephen. Family comes first." The assumption underlying his outrage was staggering. Jake genuinely believed my earnings were family resources to be allocated according to his needs, rather than my personal property to be spent on my own priorities. Aunt Margaret had posted in the family group chat calling me selfish and demanding explanations for my financial decisions. Cousin Patricia wanted detailed breakdowns of the purchase price and down payment. Uncle David had written a long message about family loyalty and the responsibilities of older siblings to support younger ones. I watched this digital chaos unfold while drinking coffee on my peaceful dock, feeling oddly detached from their panic. The contrast between their fury and my serenity highlighted everything wrong with our family dynamics. They were enraged that I had chosen self-care over subsidizing someone else's dreams. Meanwhile, my colleagues and friends had left supportive comments on the lake house post. "Finally treating yourself right, man," wrote my college friend Tom. "Gorgeous property," commented my coworker Sarah. "Well-deserved celebration," added my hiking buddy Mike. The difference between family outrage and friend support was stark. People who knew me professionally or personally celebrated my achievement, while family members who had ignored my existence for years were furious that I wasn't funding their expectations. The family group chat became a battlefield throughout Wednesday. Messages poured in demanding I sell the house immediately to fund Jake's wedding. My mother threatened to never speak to me again if I didn't fix this situation. My father calculated the exact amount I had stolen from the family by spending on myself instead of contributing to Jake's celebration. Jake created his own dramatic social media posts about selfish older brothers who abandoned family responsibilities. His public manipulation was designed to generate sympathy and pressure me into compliance through embarrassment. Extended family members began taking sides, with most supporting my parents' position that I should prioritize family obligations over personal desires. A few relatives quietly messaged private support, but the majority joined the guilt campaign designed to force my compliance. The only family member who responded positively was grandmother Helen, who called Wednesday evening laughing about the chaos my simple birthday post had created. "Stephen, I've never been prouder of you," she said warmly. "That lake house is beautiful, and you earned every bit of it." Her support meant everything during the family storm, but it also revealed the ugly truth about our dynamics. I had unknowingly exposed the family's complete financial dependence on my expected contributions. My independent spending had disrupted their budget planning and revealed their exploitation. By Thursday morning, I realized my lake house purchase had already increased in value by $5,000 due to market conditions. Even from a purely financial perspective, I had made a better decision than funding someone else's party. The family's reaction had revealed everything I needed to know about their priorities, their expectations, and their complete disregard for my autonomy as an adult. The post that I intended as a quiet celebration had become a declaration of independence that would reshape every family relationship moving forward. The family demanded an emergency meeting the following weekend, and their insistence left no room for negotiation. The text messages and phone calls had escalated to ultimatums: attend the gathering or face permanent family consequences. Despite my newfound independence, the thought of losing all family connections still carried emotional weight. I drove from Denver to Austin on Saturday morning, taking my time through the mountains and plains while mentally preparing for what felt like a trial. The 3-hour drive provided space to organize my thoughts and strengthen my resolve. I would listen to their concerns, but I would no longer apologize for putting my own financial welfare first. Arriving at my parents' suburban house brought back memories of countless family gatherings where I had played the role of supportive background character. This time felt different. I walked through the front door with the confidence of someone who owned property, commanded a 6-figure salary, and had built independence through personal achievement. The living room had been arranged like an intervention. My parents sat on the main couch, flanked by Aunt Margaret and Uncle David. Jake occupied the matching armchair, while cousins Patricia and Michael filled folding chairs brought from the kitchen. The formal setup was designed to intimidate and overwhelm through numbers. My mother Susan opened with a dramatic presentation about my selfish behavior and its impact on family harmony. She had prepared printed screenshots of my Instagram post, real estate listings, and mortgage information she had somehow obtained through internet research. "Stephen, we've always been proud of your success, but this lake house purchase shows a complete disregard for family priorities," she began, her voice carrying the wounded tone perfected through years of guilt manipulation. "Jake's wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime event that requires family support." My father, Robert, followed with detailed financial calculations showing my supposed debt to the family. He had created a spreadsheet documenting every family gathering, holiday gift, and meal they had provided over the years, then assigned dollar values to calculate my accumulated obligation. "You've received thousands of dollars in family support over the years," Robert declared, waving his printed calculations. "Now it's time to give back to the family that invested in you." Jake's emotional manipulation was the most disturbing part of the intervention. He spoke about dreams destroyed, wedding plans canceled, and the heartbreak of discovering his own brother would prioritize personal luxury over family love. His performance was calculated and rehearsed. Aunt Margaret delivered a lecture about oldest sibling responsibilities and the duty to support younger family members. Uncle David pontificated about family loyalty and the selfishness of modern society. Cousin Patricia nodded along supportively while taking notes on her phone. I sat quietly through their presentations, letting them exhaust their prepared arguments before responding. Their coordination was impressive, but their fundamental premise was flawed. They were treating my financial independence as theft rather than achievement. When they finished, I calmly addressed each accusation with facts they couldn't dispute. "I know about my college fund being spent on Jake's ventures," I began quietly. $60,000 over the years, according to Aunt Margaret's records. The room fell silent as I produced documentation I had quietly gathered. Bank statements, loan agreements, and email trails showing systematic financial support flowing to Jake while my education expenses were ignored. "I worked 2 jobs through college because you told me my fund was safely invested," I continued, maintaining eye contact with my parents. Instead, it was funding business ventures that never produced returns. I systematically revealed my new salary, bonus amount, and lake house cost, watching their expressions change as they realized my wealth exceeded their expectations. Their outrage had been based on false assumptions about my financial capacity. The family's reaction was immediate and telling. Instead of celebrating my success, they recalculated how much I could contribute to their various causes. The dollar signs in their eyes were practically visible as they adjusted their expectations upward. That's when I revealed the information that changed everything. Through casual conversation with mutual friends, I had discovered Jake's secret gambling addiction, online casino accounts, sports betting losses, and accumulated debt that explained his constant need for family financial support. Jake owes over $30,000 to various bookies and online gambling sites, I announced quietly. His business ventures have been covers for gambling addiction. The wedding money would pay his debts, not fund a celebration. The silence that followed was deafening. Jake's face went white as his secret was exposed to the entire family. His carefully maintained image as an entrepreneur crumbled instantly, replaced by the reality of addiction and deception. Amanda arrived unexpectedly during this revelation, having driven from her apartment to discuss wedding planning. She walked into a room filled with tension and heard enough of the conversation to demand complete honesty about Jake's finances and their wedding funding sources. The confrontation between Jake and Amanda was painful to witness. Years of lies, hidden debt, and false promises were exposed in front of the entire family. Amanda's dreams of a perfect wedding dissolved as she learned about gambling addiction and the financial manipulation that would have funded their celebration. Jake finally broke down, admitting his gambling problem and begging for help rather than money. The golden child image that had protected him for years was shattered, replaced by the reality of addiction that required treatment rather than enablement. The family dynamic shifted dramatically as truth replaced fantasy. My parents realized their favored son had been lying and manipulating for years. Extended family members saw their financial contributions would have funded addiction rather than celebration. Uncle David attempted one final guilt campaign about grandmother Helen's medical expenses, suggesting I should contribute to her care regardless of family drama. I calmly revealed that I had been privately helping her with medical bills for months without telling anyone, providing support based on love rather than obligation. Grandmother Helen arrived during this final exchange, immediately supporting my independence while criticizing the family's treatment of me over the years. Her presence shifted the power dynamic completely, as the family matriarch endorsed my position. The meeting concluded with Jake entering gambling addiction treatment that I researched and funded privately. Amanda postponed their wedding pending his recovery and demonstration of financial responsibility. My parents agreed to attend family therapy to address their enabling behavior and favoritism patterns. I established clear boundaries: financial independence, equal treatment, and respect for my personal decisions. The family could accept these terms or lose relationship with me entirely. The choice was theirs, but the old dynamic was finished forever. 3 weeks after our confrontation, genuine healing began to transform our family relationships. Jake entered a residential gambling addiction treatment program I had researched and privately funded. His courage in facing his addiction inspired respect that his entrepreneurial fantasies had never earned. Amanda made the difficult decision to postpone their wedding pending Jake's recovery and his demonstration of sustained financial responsibility. Her strength in prioritizing his health over her wedding dreams showed maturity that impressed everyone in our family. My parents, Robert and Susan, began attending weekly family therapy sessions I had arranged and paid for through my company's employee assistance program. Their willingness to examine their enabling behavior and favoritism patterns marked the first step toward healthier relationships. I established clear boundaries that revolutionized our family dynamic. My financial independence was non-negotiable. My personal decisions required no family approval, and my achievements would be celebrated rather than immediately monetized for others' benefit. Respect became the foundation of all interactions. The family agreed to properly acknowledge and celebrate my birthday going forward, understanding that equal treatment meant genuine recognition rather than token gestures. This simple change represented a fundamental shift in how they viewed my place in the family structure. For Thanksgiving, I hosted the first family gathering at my lake house. The location itself reinforced the new dynamic. We were meeting in my space, according to my boundaries, with respect as the baseline for all interactions. My parents arrived with humble hearts and homemade dishes, their demeanor reflecting genuine remorse for years of taking me for granted. The mountain setting seemed to inspire honesty and appreciation that our suburban gatherings had never fostered. Jake attended with 30 days of sobriety and a part-time job he had secured through the treatment program. His presence felt different, less performative, more authentic. He was learning to build identity through recovery rather than grandiose schemes that required family funding. Aunt Margaret and Uncle David acknowledged their role in enabling unhealthy family dynamics. They apologized for pressuring me to sacrifice my financial independence for Jake's benefit and committed to supporting individual growth over family codependence. Cousin Patricia became an unexpected ally in promoting healthier family relationships. Her observation skills, once used to gather gossip, now focused on identifying and interrupting manipulation patterns that had damaged our connections for years. Grandmother Helen enjoyed her first peaceful holiday in years, no longer mediating family drama or watching her grandchildren compete for unequal attention. Her contentment reflected the positive changes we were all experiencing through honest communication and mutual respect. As my birthday approached in October, the family asked how they could make the celebration special. I requested a simple dinner with genuine appreciation rather than expensive gifts. Their enthusiasm for honoring my day properly felt sincere and healing. The family created a photo album documenting my accomplishments they had previously ignored. Graduation pictures, work promotions, community service, and personal achievements that deserved recognition. The album represented acknowledgement of my value beyond financial utility. Jake prepared a heartfelt amends speech about taking me for granted for years. His words carried weight because they emerged from addiction recovery rather than manipulation. He was learning to value relationships over financial gain, honesty over performance. My parents presented a rebuilt college fund as inheritance for my future children, acknowledging their mistake in spending my educational money on Jake's ventures. The gesture represented accountability and genuine remorse for their favoritism. My lake house became a family retreat for positive gatherings only. Drama, manipulation, and financial pressure were prohibited in my sanctuary. The location itself reinforced healthy boundaries while providing space for authentic connection. Amanda thanked me privately for exposing Jake's addiction before their wedding. My honesty had saved her from unknowingly marrying someone whose financial secrets would have destroyed their future together. My career continued flourishing with family stress removed from my daily life. The promotion to regional manager came with a 6-figure salary increase, stock options, and leadership responsibilities that aligned with my professional goals. I began mentoring junior engineers at work, sharing knowledge while building leadership skills that extended beyond technical expertise. Professional growth accelerated when family drama no longer drained my emotional energy. Our family group chat transformed from a manipulation platform into genuine, supportive communication. Celebrations were shared equally, achievements were recognized properly, and financial boundaries were respected consistently. When my 29th birthday arrived, the family organized a surprise party at my lake house that honored my preferences and personality. Decorations reflected my interests. The cake was my favorite flavor, and gifts showed thoughtful consideration of my individual tastes. Jake delivered an emotional speech about my strength, leadership, and the example I had set through establishing healthy boundaries. His recovery had taught him to value character over charisma, substance over style. My parents presented the rebuilt college fund with a formal apology for depleting my education money. They committed to rebuilding the full amount with interest as acknowledgement of their favoritism and its financial impact on my life. The lake house represented more than property ownership. It symbolized self-worth, independence, and the courage to demand respect rather than accept exploitation. Every sunset over the water reminded me of personal growth and healthy boundaries. My family learned to celebrate my achievements without expecting personal gain. They supported my happiness because they valued my well-being rather than viewing my success as their opportunity. I maintained boundaries while rebuilding relationships on terms that honored everyone's autonomy. Loving family no longer meant sacrificing personal welfare or accepting disrespectful treatment in the name of family loyalty. Looking toward the future, I was considering proposing to my colleague Sarah, who had supported my journey toward independence and respected my commitment to healthy family relationships. My family was enthusiastic about my happiness rather than concerned about how my marriage might affect their financial expectations. The life lesson was crystal clear. Self-respect sometimes requires disappointing others to honor yourself. Family love should enhance individual growth rather than demand sacrifice of personal dreams, financial independence, or emotional well-being. My internal transformation was complete. I had evolved from an invisible family member seeking approval to a respected leader who commanded equal treatment through clear boundaries and consistent self-advocacy. The lake house remained my sanctuary, a physical reminder that investing in yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary for building the strength to love others from a position of self-respect rather than desperate need for validation. Have you ever had to choose between keeping family peace and standing up for yourself? The decision isn't easy, but sometimes the people who truly love you will respect your boundaries once you're brave enough to set them. What's your experience with family dynamics that required tough choices? Share your story in the comments below. Your perspective might help someone else find the courage to demand the respect they deserve. If this story resonated with you, please give it a like to show your support. Don't forget to subscribe for more real-life stories about finding strength, setting boundaries, and transforming difficult family relationships. And please share this with anyone who might need encouragement to put their own well-being first. Sometimes we all need a reminder that our happiness matters too. Thank you for listening to my journey. Remember, you deserve relationships that celebrate your achievements rather than immediately calculating how to benefit from them. Here's to building connections based on respect, celebrating each other's successes, and creating the loving, supportive families we all deserve.